While we try to be as helpful as possible, this podcast should not be considered as professional or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out professional advice for your own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Julia.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Riley.
And this is the Enthusiast Lab. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Enthusiast Lab. Today we have a very special guest, Riley, who
Big man.
been with us back way back when.
2020.
We thought we'll get him on the pod and have a chat about what building was like back then versus like what you're seeing in the market now, and kind of have a chitty chat about that.
Yeah.
So,
what if you've made any money in your house, all that type of shit. Just basically how it's been since you've had the house, and then as well as the fact of what's happened since you got the house. Have you finished the house off? Blah, 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 all that type of shit.
yeah, so who are you?
Who the fuck are you?
I am Riley.
Ah, yes.
Riley Day, Mr. Day.
What do you do?
What else would you like to know?
Age, occupation, what did you have for dinner last night?
Last night I cooked pork belly in the air fryer.
Oof. Oh, nice.
Pretty good. Honey carrots. Cara made some honey carrots.
Yeah, killer.
I've been really thinking about getting an air fryer back on.
It's built into the oven.
Actual?
It's a...
Yeah.
What oven
Nice.
did you get?
I
the fancy
went
one.
and upgraded one.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the selections that they had at the time. And
Yeah.
I brought to them the one that I wanted, which was the same company as what they offered.
There's Fisher and Paykel, wasn't it? Or
Westinghouse.
Westinghouse, yeah.
Westinghouse back then, yeah.
So I just said, look, can you get me this one?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll take off what we're allowing for these other ones, and then you just pay the rest on top. So
Oh, what a flex.
Yeah, sweet. But anyways, so who the fuck are you?
so-
Well, what do you do for work instead of talking about your fucking oven and your air fryer?
Bet you didn't think it was going to start like this, eh? So, yeah, I'm 31, and I'm a fitter machinist, currently line boring in the Pilbara.
Killer. What's the roster like? 3-in-1, isn't it?
Oh,
It's all over the joint.
it's meant to be 2010. It's meant to be 2-in-1. It's meant to be whatever you want it to be, but it's not what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. It just depends on workflow and what ends up happening. So you might stay back or go a bit and whatever.
We do have the option, like if you want a clean cut 2010 to fly out, but then that could land halfway through a shut or through a job or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unfair on your other half if you just bail halfway through a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can go 24 days, 25 days.
Yeah, cool.
Et cetera, et cetera.
So basically not your standard 8 and 6 week on, week off type of thing. It's a bit longer.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, cool.
Money's better.
With a more,
gangster.
fluid.
What's the site? What site are you on?
Every site.
Oh, so you jump around sites.
Yeah, we go every site. Rio Tinto, BHP, Roy Hill, gold mines down West Gold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
cool. Yeah, sweet.
Whoever needs a job done, we'll
Yeah.
we'll jump in the truck
We'll
and get
be
there.
straight
eh?
in there. Yep, yeah,
there.
cool.
Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning that you built a house with us way back when. So you signed up with us in July 2020 and you picked up keys August 2021.
Yep, 13th
So
of August.
in comparison to where we are now, obviously this was a hot minute ago. But I do want to know, what was your build experience then and what do you see in the market now?
My build experience then was really good. Like I couldn't fault it. Not by me knowing what I'm doing or anything, or it was just pure luck.
Yeah.
Reached out to you guys,
Yeah.
got into it kind of thing
Yeah.
with the build, and then it just happened. So like a week after we'd first spoken, grants came out, and it all just started falling in my lap.
Yeah, it
Like,
did.
It was
did.
just really good timing.
It actually was. So I'll jump into this. So Riley actually got a very special block because Julie and I actually purchased this block first. It was a 600 square block. We're not going to say where it is. If you know, you know. But we actually purchased it because I was going to Race Wars in 2020 in March 1st. When we were there at racing, we settled on it. We were at a previous builder, which then decided that they're going to close the door. So we ended up having this block and we're just like, yeah, fuck, we're going to get rid of it. And that's when Riley reached out and he's like, oh, fuck, I've been tossing up because you weren't looking in that area. You were looking more around like the Bushmead and stuff like that, those areas.
Yeah, I had no idea really.
Towards the hills and stuff. You had no idea where the fuck you wanted to be. And that's when we were looking around, but you wanted a slightly bigger block with your garage setups and shit.
I kind of set you up. I said I wanted to be near the ocean, near the river, near work. I wanted to be near everything, which we got pretty close to. Everything but the ocean.
Yeah, everything but the ocean. And that was what we sat there and we're like, well, how important is these things versus that? And we started sifting through. And when you turn around, you're like, oh, you know what? It's actually not that bad. We'll look into this. So then we're like, look, I've actually got a block that we were going to go ahead with, and now we've decided not to, with this type of concept plan of a 4-car garage and shit. Do you want this? And you're like, oh, in the beginning, Riley, maybe not admit it, but he's like, oh, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll just hold off a bit, It's getting really hard, and it's a lot of money I have to save. And I'm like,
I had no money, just to put in reference.
Yeah, he didn't have much money in there. He only had the initial savings, and I sat him down and I said, you need to shut the fuck up and save, because he was dumping money. You didn't really have any other expenses. You don't have kids or anything like that.
No,
you just had the race car, which he had a Ford Falcon that was making stupid power. And he was just dumping money on stupid shit. So
like the wheels, which you grilled me for.
100%. This fucker spent $10,000 on fucking rims.
I probably had 12 grand in my bank at the time.
Priorities.
Race car things. So we ended up, basically sat you down and said, look, don't be a fuckwit. This is how you're going to do it. Save the cash. Here's your time frame for it. We'll transfer over the block. You purchase at what the purchase price was, which we then had a mate back then, Matt, who ended up facilitating the sale of the land. We got the house design, ran it all through. You did a few tweaks to it, which is what you wanted. Hit the budget. It was pushing that budget a little bit back then, because we weren't counting all of your overtime and allowances with that bank back then.
Can't be counted, yeah.
Nah. So I pushed him. He was probably one of the clients that I will sit there and go, I probably pushed that a little bit, going, look, we're not having much of a safety net, but it'll be sweet.
I'd say though, like we were pushing Riley, or you were pushing Riley, because we knew you on a personal level.
We knew on a personal level.
I needed the nudge as well.
You did.
So I appreciate that.
You fucking did. and I will say, like, we sat there and we're like, look, this is going to be pushing it, but you'll be fine. Just, you have to adjust your approach on certain things, which you did. You grinded your way through it.
Knuckled the
fuck down, and then we ended up building the place. And obviously, we signed up. You're like, fuck it, let's send it straight on. And you smashed the savings. You also did a few fucking things that you weren't supposed to.
There was a couple of funny stories there.
So you can share that with everyone here.
Will you tell us the story?
So during the grant, so for everyone out there, this was 2020. This was in the peak of the absolute shit show. Trying to find land was fucked. Trying to find builders that were willing to accept business and all that, it was an absolute. Everyone was taking business on, and then this was where the price increases were happening, the delays were happening, all this shit. Riley, this fucker here had the perfect experience in the worst fucking conditions possible, when he got kissed on the dick by God, honestly, with his situation. Like, exactly, like in terms of your situation, which was amazing. Everything was just meant to be.
I think it's because Riley signed up right at the beginning of the booms,
and the land was titled, so we weren't waiting on the land. He saved the money that he needed in that time frame, but in that same time frame, like what we guide every client is, you got to do pre-start, you got to do contracts, all that. So we timed it so specifically. We went, you cannot get past this time frame with your savings. This is it.
Yeah.
And then we just smashed it all through. And one of the things you did was you pulled some cash out, because back then all the COVID shit happened. Obviously, it was a shit show.
Yep.
And the government was offering everyone who had a certain amount of cash in their super, if you wanted to, you could pull some of that out to help with funds and, with paying all that type of stuff.
Technically hardship, because it was meant for.
Technically financial hardship. And this fucker took it
Which I was not in, but...
He was not in. He was saving for a home, and he took it out. And...
I decided against it at first. I was like, no, I'm not going to touch it.
You
and
did.
then I think I was working night shift one night, and I was just looking at it, and I thought, what the hell?
Extra 10K.
10K won't go astray. Little did I know.
Little did he know.
That was going to put a 3-month setback to our journey.
100%. When he did that, he didn't tell us, and he was still saving. And then he's like, oh, yeah, actually, I finished the savings a little bit early. and we sat there and went, the math ain't mathing.
How'd you work that out?
Yeah, what the fuck's going on? And then when he told us, I spoke with the broker that we used back then, and he just turned around and he's like, oh fuck.
You're
Oh,
a
fuck.
dickhead in
Yeah.
but pretty much
Proper terms.
Verbatim.
you're a dickhead because as soon as people were pulling out of their super during this time, what they weren't explaining to people was the fact that you're technically immediately claiming financial hardship. So in the eyes of a bank, you claiming financial hardship, but then also trying to take out a loan for a house, it's a big no-go. That's like one of the most biggest like forbidden things you can never do.
It's a no.
It's a big nay-nay. So what we ended up having to do was hold off for 3 months to show that he was still earning, he was still spending, and it was still okay, and use that as basically like to create that as genuine funds. And then we were able to actually get him on the site, which actually worked out perfectly in your scenario because you kept saying that little bit extra.
Well, it nearly ruined everything though.
It
Almost.
did.
We
It
nearly
did.
lost the block because of it.
We almost lost the block for it, not from my side because of how it was all done, because ended up selling it and then reselling it through. We had to get it all within a specific time frame, but we were able to with our contact back then, Matt. I don't think he listens to this, but if he does, he's a fucking legend. Matt Hughes.
Gate kept it for us.
He gate kept it for us for an additional 6 weeks that we needed. We gave the scenario. The seller was fine with it. Everyone was fine with it. Happy days, and we ended up getting the block.
It
So was
cost
a
an extra
win-win.
$5,000.
It did.
That's
it
what
did.
we had to pay.
Yeah.
In the
yeah.
scheme of things, nothing.
In the grand scheme
Yeah.
of things, fuck all.
Yeah.
Because what we did was we extended it, and this was the time when everyone was throwing offers well above asking just to try and pinch blocks of people. It was absolute shit show.
Which did happen, I believe.
100%, it
Yeah.
did. And they did offer, and he's like, oh, no chance. And we went back to him and said, look, we're going to do this extension, but here's an extra $5,000. Like, we're serious about this. And off you go. Boom, off you go.
Yeah.
Which was great. We ended up, we got the block, and we did the 4-car garage. We widened the garage. We went tall ceilings and that. So we do our raised ceilings, but this fucker decided, yeah, we're going to do a hoist in it. So we raised the entire garage for a hoist. So rather than the recess section that we normally do for a lot of people, we did the entire garage at 3.3 meters. So that means your garage door was like 3 meters tall.
Just shy, yeah.
just shy.
298 or something.
298 or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And the rest of the homes are 4x2 with a theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
killer. So
So-
we actually did a few videos on YouTube, on Instagram. He's the one with the overhead cupboards of the full custom Mary overheads
yeah.
that he did afterwards. Looks gangster.
So from there, you've done the build, you've handed over. What was the process like moving in and doing additions to the home? Because you spec'd up your home quite a bit when we visited.
Yeah, so the process for me, I know it sounds cliche, but it was really good. It was really smooth. I had no delays with Ross North at the time.
Yeah, that's who we used back
we
then.
just snuck in. We got all the grants. We had no delays. We had no what is it when the products are no longer available?
Discontinuous.
Yeah.
No
Discontinued.
discontinuations, nothing of the sort.
Yeah.
So everything was sailing after I made my little mistake.
Yeah.
And then it just continued moving in. So furniture, bought a lot of furniture. That all arrived. The bed arrived the first day of getting my keys. So the night of 13th of August.
Yeah, right.
Nearly didn't, but I was on the blower to him saying this has to come tonight.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
lo and behold, it came that night. So
Otherwise, you were sleeping on the floor, mate.
we were sleeping on the floor. I mean, I would have been happy to. I had my keys. The rest was history after
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But everything was really good. So it took me a while to get around to finally do the overhead cabinets, which
Yeah.
we had planned for in pre-start. Initially, I said, yep, we'll just put this bulkhead here. You told me that was a
Yes.
possibility at first.
Yes.
We'll put the GPO or whatever that is in the roof to allow for an LED light. And I'll just do it straight away. And then 3 years went by and I still hadn't done it. So pulled the trigger on that. So that was really good. And everything looking back was just was textbook. It was couldn't have gone better really thinking about it.
Yeah.
A couple little things that you'd notice after building a first home that you go, okay, maybe I'll change that next time. Just like
Yeah.
light switch positions or doors
Yeah.
or
Small things.
Extra
Tiny.
PowerPoints in certain areas that you went, oh, I thought this was enough, but an extra one would have been nice. Like, we did it with
PowerPoints
ours.
everywhere.
Man, I built fucking
Yes.
400 houses. We built our own place.
Still fucked
and
up.
I still fucked up. Didn't recess certain things. We added PowerPoints. Man, this house has fucking PowerPoints. I will tell you this now. In the living area, still didn't put enough PowerPoints.
Facts.
We, have,
Yeah,
we, have
right.
to, we have to use fucking power boards. And I'm sitting there going,
What the fuck?
how?
tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. I have to deal with it. But anyways, I do want to touch over the build process.
Okay.
Because people were having very big mixed messages back
Yeah,
then, right?
they were.
First of all, did you have a price increase during the course of your entire build? for anything.
No. So, like I said, kiss on the dick by God. I
Yep.
just cruise through with everything.
It's not kissing the dick by God. It's
By an
kissing the
angel.
dick by an angel.
I didn't want to correct you, mate.
Well, you should
Neither
have.
did
This is your
I.
show.
Neither did I.
Who was it that actually said that to me?
Rob.
It was Rob said it to me when Julie had that little car crash where the fucking guy hit the wheel of the Everest. And
Not a single scratch.
not a single scratch on
Not a
the
single scratch.
Everest, right? The other car fucked.
Yeah.
And
He U-turned into my car and he only
at
hit
60
the
k's
wheel.
an hour. 60 k's an hour, man.
I think I remember this.
Yeah.
It was when I went last time in April to Adelaide. I landed in Adelaide. Julie sends me a message 1 minute later. Hey, I just got into a crash as the plane. I wasn't even off the plane yet. But anyways,
Return flight.
yeah, fuck, almost. Kissed on the dick by an angel. So that's what we shall be using for the rest of today's term. What was I saying? It was about your build.
Yeah. So
No price increases.
No price increase.
No.
Time frame. So your total journey from July till things. So that's 13 months. That includes your administration as well as your
And
build.
build.
I think your build was only like 9 months or something like
Slap
that.
down late November. So
Yeah.
9
Yeah,
available.
yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The thing is, though, what I think a lot of people forget and maybe don't know is before the boom, 12 months and under in construction was the standard. There was no such thing as a 12-month build guarantee.
Before 2020, the average build time was about 6 to 7 months
Yeah.
in construction. And that was not like, oh, this is fucking shit. This was just the norm because there was a lot of availability. There was trade availability. There was
material.
materials. There wasn't a huge influx that we have never been able to come back from, right? So you got fucking...
You landed right
Lucky.
in the
Chef's
chef's kiss kind of.
Well, when
Yeah.
we signed up, grants weren't even a thing.
Nah,
No.
no,
They
it
didn't
wasn't.
exist. I got a phone call a week after.
Yeah,
I think I was on night shift, so I was sleeping. So thanks for waking me up.
Yep,
But
you're most welcome.
you rang me
Well-
up saying, "Oh, by the way, you've just got 20 grand."
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, you got the
You can
20.
wake me up whenever you want. A week later, he done it again.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a further 25.
Exactly. So you walked away, did it all, and got 45 grand cash in hand into your fucking account. Laughing.
Couldn't have timed it any better.
It
Yeah.
was killer. Did you use that to finish your house?
I think I put it on the Land Cruiser. I think I used it to buy the Cruiser. Yeah.
As you did. As you did.
So, yeah, for the people listening, the 2020 boom, like Riley got away scot-free compared to other people.
Yeah. Yep.
So Riley's experience is like one of the very few that had no price increases, no delays, there was no issues on site. Like you really just kind of
Just
flew under the
flew.
radar.
Yeah.
Yeah. you just,
Compared
I
to,
didn't even think of any faults. Maybe the tiles.
oh, there was a small
bathroom tiles?
issue with a tile.
Yeah, it was taking ages, and the
Yeah,
you
but
had
it's
to
because of the
manually-
tile you chose. You chose these fish scale tiles.
The mosaics, yeah.
Yeah, that took ages to lay 'cause the tiler was laying them individually.
He was not a happy camper.
No, he
was
was
not
not.
happy, but it came out fucking sick.
did.
It
Came
came
out
out
really
nice. Yeah,
Yeah, it
very
did.
happy with that.
So you're obviously friends with us and you know kind of the industry through our eyes because, you know, we talk to you and everything. Looking at the industry when
Yeah,
you
we
built
talk shit.
and looking at the industry when you built versus the industry now, what are the differences you see? Because we see it very differently, but as a consumer, what are the differences you see? Oh, that's a big sigh.
That's a good question.
He has no idea.
Correct. No, look, the only difference that I would really notice as someone in my position with no idea about house building whatsoever to building a first house and now living in it is just the build time frames. But that was more straight away. Like people who
Yeah.
had signed up shortly after me, maybe a month, 2 months after me, it took them 6 to 8 months
Yeah.
longer to get their keys. So that's possibly the only difference I've seen, as well as
The cost.
costs
Double.
and obviously material shortages and all,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of that. So,
Yeah.
but that wasn't too long after me. So
No,
No.
it
As
wasn't.
as far as he's talking about then to now,
Yeah.
I guess it's still relevant.
It's still
Yeah.
relevant. Yeah, I think, yeah, as from the outside point of view, I think the main things that you'd really notice, like, you know, if we ended up looking at doing an investment build, is the fact that shit's just a lot more expensive. And the time frame is that longer. Even though we've got the good builders that are consistent and all that, it's no longer the same as what you went through, which was very perfect, but it's still a lot better than what some people are still experiencing since 2020.
Correct,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's a juggling act, but it's just cool to just see the feedback from someone that's already done it and where it is. But like, yeah, so you finished off the house, like you got your cars and shit. You won the garage, you did all the yard. This bloke has the best fucking lawn, on that entire street. This
Not at the moment, it's winter.
Yeah, but this guy
You know what?
prides himself on his fucking lawn. And what lawn is it?
It's Tiff Tough. So it's a hybrid Cooch cross Bermuda.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like as you hit your 30s, you get slotted into gardening or like
Yeah, so
you
you're into lawns or
Smoke
you're into
meats.
smoking meats, which this fucker does both. Or you're dumping money into cars and stupid shit.
or fishing.
Or fishing.
I mean, you kind of
This
slot into all of them.
This bloke is the all-rounder. He's got all of them. Between the car, the lawn, the smoking mates, and that. All I've got is the car.
I am the 30-year-old stereotype.
If there was a 30-year-old stereotype, Riley's the fucking face.
You're becoming
of
a
it.
true dad without the child.
I don't play golf.
Yeah,
so I've
that's
still
right.
got something to
Yep.
check off there.
Yeah, that's it.
What profits did you make? So Nick was not profits. That's the
What
wrong
the
word.
fuck is that
Sorry,
mean?
let me.
The
let me
fuck's a
try that
profits?
again. No, not the
a prophecy.
Profit. What the equity that you built in your home?
Oh, profit.
Fuck.
So
I thought you meant profit as in like what? The fucking
I just got dirty looks from the both of you. Fuck.
Jesus.
The equity.
So you've done a couple of valuations recently.
somewhat. I think my last evaluation was start of last year.
Shit,
Okay.
was
So
that far away?
well, it's when I got the Beamer. So
Yeah, true.
And that's now been a year.
Fuck.
Okay, so beginning of 2024.
Essentially,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Shit.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, yeah. That's right. Because you sent me the Snapchat. The it's been a year since you picked up the 20. The
I couldn't believe it.
M4.
I was meant to sell it after 6 to 12 months, and here we are modifying it. So
Yeah. Okay.
there goes that idea.
Yeah.
You're due for a new val. Oh,
Exactly.
you're due for a new val then.
So the valuation then was, I think it was just shy of 900.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
At
And
the
we
time.
we did your plays for 6:30.
6:30.
630, but that's LMI included. So that was
Yeah.
my total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that you had. So 6:30 House and Land with LMI. 3 years later, 900K. Now I would be pretty comfortable to say you're basically cracking.
The mill.
Yeah, you're cracking
that
seven
crazy?
figures.
The big M.
But
Insane.
you look at it and you think, would I spend $1 million for a house like this?
Yeah, that's
Hell
we
no.
were having this actually, we had this conversation with Julia. I think it was about we were doing valuation with our property, and we're just sitting there going, for $1 million now, like back
I
in
would
the
spend
day.
$1 million on your place, though.
Yeah,
It's
I
got
don't know,
values,
though.
it has the
I
whistles.
appreciate you. I love you.
I don't know though.
However, back in the day, when I thought of $1 million property, I'd be sitting there going, bro,
Double story, big bunta,
Mansion,
pool,
circle driveway.
Yeah.
yeah.
Circle driveway with a palm in the middle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you'd be like, I'm going into Scarborough. I'm going to Cottesloe. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe not one of those big beach facing ones, but you're
In
in,
the
that.
likes, yeah.
You're,
You're in the
in that
plush
area.
suburbs.
You're in
That's
the
right.
plush suburbs. You know, I'll be in Nedlands or something like that. Like I'd be
Subi,
somewhere.
yeah.
Subi for $1 million.
Big blocks, big
Yeah.
houses.
Now
Yeah.
you're fucking half an hour away from the city on a fucking
600 square block.
450, 500 square block.
It is.
Fuck.
It is crazy.
Insane.
That is, and that probably answers the question you asked earlier about the changes from then to
Yeah.
now. Price.
Price.
Such an
Property
obvious
prices
insanity.
are soaring.
Insanity. But at the same time, it was great. You know, we pushed you. You saw the value of what it is. You jumped on. You could have easily sat there and said no. Like it's not like I sat there with a gun to your head.
No,
and said,
I
"Hey,
think
you
it was
need
a
to
katana
put the-
blade, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Katana.
Here we go.
Fucking, why is everyone always taking the piss out of me? I don't actually force people to do shit.
But I mean, I'm glad you did do it because you know me then.
Yeah.
And you were asking me when I was going to build a house
100%.
years prior.
Yep.
And I was quite comfortable living with mum,
Yeah.
getting milkshakes,
Yep.
bacon and egg sandwiches made. Like that was, I had no
Oh,
desire to
dream.
leave.
Actually, sorry, full circle. David from a couple of episodes ago was referred or was convinced
he
to
was.
build by Riley.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I actually
This
didn't put the
fucker.
two together.
Thank you very much, Banter.
Yes, thank you.
Love you long time.
So,
all right.
but for the people that are actually
I've cashed in my friendship.
for the people actively listening, the a couple of episodes ago, we had I think it was like back-to-back episodes with David, my younger brother,
Good kid.
who
kid.
came to
Good egg.
Nick's 30th birthday party, got wildly drunk with Riley, ended up sleeping at Riley's, and because he like kicked on with Riley to like 4 a.m, I think, he
When I
decided
was
to build.
these fuckers were sending me happy birthday messages in the fucking spa.
Oh yeah, in the spa.
That was the first kick on.
Yeah. Oh,
Mine
That
was
was
the
the kick
second.
on after the kick on.
it's the afters.
Yeah, you also
was a good
cost
night.
us an Xbox because after coming to yours, David came and like bitched on about buying a bloody Xbox for months.
To be honest, best thing we did because
Yeah,
I get
thanks.
to replay heaps of old games from like back when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
It was actually really cool. So the Fable series and stuff.
Okay.
So back in the day, we had an Xbox 360. We had the PS2s and stuff, and then we skipped the PS3 and had, do you know what I mean? Anyways,
PS4.
Xbox 360, and I was playing Fable 3 back then. I was probably about 70% through completion, and I got the Red Ring of Death,
Oh,
and it was
torture.
it, game over. And I got so fucking, like, I rage quitted so hard, never touched an Xbox ever since. And then magically, here we are with an Xbox. And the first thing I said to them was like, please tell me there's no more Red Ring of Death. And they're like, no, man.
Actually, in the store, they're like the
that's-
Red Ring of Death. They're like, no more.
Yeah. He's like, that's the thing of the past. I'm like, yeah, but once you've experienced it, man,
It's traumatic.
it's fucking traumatic. I was so happy. Like, everything went perfect with that game. Like, the whole storyline, all the drops that I got, everything was fucking perfect
until
until that happened. Mid battle.
it's a good life lesson, though, isn't it?
It
The old
is.
Red Ring of Death.
So now I'm getting to relive my trauma. 10 out of 10, and then go to my psychologist to work through it.
I have a question. Obviously you built through us, but while you were talking to Nick, did you look at any other builders?
Yeah, I think you did.
I looked at them more as a guide, not as
Yeah.
like screw you, choose your information. I'm now going to utilize that through this guy.
Yeah.
But more as a guide as to, I think it was house designs, or
Like color schemes and stuff?
I'm not sure it was even more of that. I think it was more just the whole
What's out there?
scenario of it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
just to.
Did you look at established at all?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep. So this was all very fast paced because, like I said, I was no intention of building or buying or anything like that. My girlfriend at the time actually gave me the first nudge because she said she can't live with my parents anymore. Fair bump. But that's when I was like, all right, well, we'll just go talk to Nick. And Nick's like, yeah, about bloody time. Roll on down. And so we were looking around everywhere in the hills, at houses established, at neighbourhoods, just to sort of tap into that market of buying a house. But quickly decided not to go with built, bought,
Yeah.
Established.
established. Yeah. Decided against that and yeah, went through the build process.
Was there something specific that really drew you into the build? Was it the fact that you could try and build that bigger garage? Were those components that you were looking for when you were looking at established homes and you just weren't finding the right fit?
Yes. So
Yeah.
with established homes, as a lot of you may know, you'll find an area of a house that you absolutely love
Yeah.
and then areas that you don't.
Yeah.
Building, you can make your house what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the benefit of building for me was being able to support a friend
Yeah.
in his business,
man.
which is cliche as to say, but it's you got to do it, you know?
Yeah.
You have friends trying to come up, you got to look after them, you got to support them.
I really fucking appreciate, like, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if established happens. But, like, if there's someone in building and, like, it's a mate of ours or whatever, to give us the opportunity and, you know, try and help us out, it goes a long way for me.
It does, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, fuck, like, you know, yeah, there might have been someone that might have done it cheaper or whatever, but you know, at least with us, like, we'll fucking make
We'll look
sure
after ya.
we'll look after, obviously being a mate, but also with what we're doing in the business. Because, like, if we were doing something dodgy, I'm pretty sure no matter how much of a mate you are, you'll still sit there and go, is
not
this the
putting my
right
money
thing?
there.
Is this the right thing? I'd
Even
probably
more
want to do
so
it.
because being friends, I know you.
Yeah.
I know your body language, I know how
Yeah.
you are, whereas some other agent, I don't know them, they could be straight up lying to me and I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy's a nice guy.
It's nice.
He's great.
What a top
but-
lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the important aspects of the home when you were looking at designs? What was important for you looking at a design?
I wanted a big shed.
Yep.
And that's how the big garage thing came all about for me. That's another thing I brought to you about the land. I said it needs to be big enough to be able to fit a shed. And you said, you're dreaming.
Yep.
So the big garage, it just made sense.
Yeah.
You can do that. And I'm so glad I did because a big garage is much more convenient than having a shed wasting space.
Absolutely. I do remember that we had the opportunity to make it a 6-car garage, and I really pushed him for it, and he did not listen because he was like, nah, man, I'm going to have the side access. I'm going to get a boat.
Still haven't got a boat.
But we did widen the standard 2-car width for the 4-car garage. We made it that extra half meter wider just to accommodate that a little bit more.
Just to
Wider
be
and
able to open
longer.
the
That's
doors.
right.
Yeah, longer. Yeah, we went
Do
proper.
you use the full space?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I wish I went 6.
Yeah,
It-
okay.
It fills up real quick.
Yeah,
If you have a
does.
chance to go 6, go 6.
Yeah. If you've got the block width for it and
it.
you've got
And the
it,
budget.
just get it done. But we can still use the side access, which has been used before when you need to store stuff. He's helped store some of my cars when we were moving a couple of things around a few times, which I really do appreciate. It's been really handy. It's become a little spare storage warehouse.
That's my fee for stealing the block off you.
That's fine.
Pretty much.
That's all right.
Now, what else? What are the things that you might want to, obviously, you've been through it, right? And obviously, you've had the preview that obviously we're mates and shit, so you've seen from a different perspective as well. What would you know, and you've also referred quite a few of your mates from FIFA and stuff like that, like Kirsten, Jordan and all that, and we really appreciate who have built with us. What are those things that you might want to, if you could give some feedback to a younger version of yourself or even just to other people that's out there with that might be considering building or buying and shit like that?
What's the advice you can give people?
What's the advice you could give them?
Put you on the spot.
Just get out there and do it.
Yeah.
But not so much dive head first, but get out there, see what's available, see what's out there, figure out what is going to work for you. I mean, if buying an established house is going to work for you, then buy an established house. But if it's not, don't go and do that and then regret it later.
Yeah.
So poor man pays twice. If it's going to cost a bit extra, but it's going to mean you're happy.
Yeah.
Then do it. Because if you're going to still spend 500 grand and not be happy,
you're kind of fucked.
you're an idiot. You've done it to yourself.
Yeah.
So you actually did pretty good on your colour and internals. What did you do for pre-start? Did you go like display home shopping for colours? Did you go online like looking? What did you do for colour selections? Any advice you can give to people for pre-start?
The biggest one was display villages.
Yeah.
Wandering through countless amounts of display villages. Pinterest. Pinterest is great.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those two.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when he was doing it, we hadn't started doing a lot of our home tours, colour schemes, the images that we have now. So
The walkthroughs now, yeah.
Here's an extra one for you guys. We actually do a lot of those stuff as well. So we, on our Insta and the home walkthroughs on YouTube, we actually do quite a bit of actually breakdowns of full colour schemes.
Oh, no, we don't.
Aren't we doing it on the colour scheme? Oh, no, no, sorry. That's on the photos.
We started doing it on the
Instagram.
photos, but it's very hard because some clients have done a lot of changes. So now we've put that on pause for now.
We have put that on pause, people.
We'll try and circle
Meanwhile-
back for that.
Meanwhile, so anyways, there are like I will say the extra thing that has happened, whether it's from our social account, is there are a lot of building accounts now on Instagram that are seeing a lot of people create these building journey accounts where they're actually starting and going through just for more inspiration and follows, whatever the fuck they want to do, which is cool. I love it. That way they're not clogging up their personal stuff, I think. And then
It
they
is
have
good.
their own
Yeah,
building
it's
journey.
good to see that.
On the walkthroughs, you can see colours, and if there's a particular house that you like colours of, we can probably dig
can
up that
probably dig it
information
up.
quite quickly. But I stopped. I trialed it for a bit, but it's very hard information to
Yeah.
pull out from each client's documents because clients have like their original pre-start addendum, then BO
Yeah, and
1s
then-
to
and then they
9 and all
change
that
them.
jazz. And,
What you also did, we have done videos on it, is the wall panels. You did
Yes.
the after the house, so you actually put some killer wall panels in your living room, and you did it in that gaming room, which was fucking. I love that fucking gaming room.
Yeah, so they double as acoustic panels as well.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it takes the echo out of a room. It just makes it feel more nice,
Yeah,
for
More
lack
plush.
of a better term.
a little
Plush.
bit nice and plush.
Yes.
It just adds some colour as well. So
It does. A bit of
But-
color and a bit of texture as well, because it's not just a flat wall. You've got that little bit with the
exactly
cladding.
right. And it's not something that I had planned initially in the build. It sort of came
No.
about later. I knew I was always getting the timber theme going along, but
Yes.
but that all, I don't even know how that came about. I think I just saw it once and I was like, oh no, I do remember how that came about.
There we go.
The PC, the computer
Oh yes,
case
that's right. Yeah,
thingamajiggy that I bought had that on the front, and I saw that and I thought, I got an idea.
I've got
Cool,
an
isn't it?
idea.
Yeah.
Let
And
me
then-
see if I can do this on the walls.
Try and find something that matches, and,
Yeah.
and lo and behold, I found something that matched.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And it all came together quite nicely.
It did.
Yeah.
I will say you gave us the inspiration for our plays because
We're now doing that.
I've got my gaming set up, and yeah, we went out. I didn't go for the same company that you used. I just grabbed some Bunnings ones because we just had a different coloured
Yep.
timber that we were looking at. Yours was a bit more specific to match your PC case, which came out gangster.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, we're doing it on our walls as well, and then I've got the recessed lights and shit like that, so we can pull into a full gaming setup as well.
It's just such a good, cheap
so good.
way to change a room. Just
Yeah, elevate it.
completely changes it.
It
yeah.
does, and like, it's not like $10,000. So many people look at these things, right, and they sit there and go, "Fuck, this is like expensive." It's
Yeah.
like, bro, it's like $600-700 for some panels, and then either you can do it yourself or time is money in my case. So we end up getting someone to come and install it within a few hours. It's all done, dusted, happy days. So $1,500.
But it
Done.
adds so much value in terms of
Huge.
like looks and feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love if fucking builders would do that in the build, which I know 9 times out of 10 they won't. They'll do it in a display home, but they won't offer it in the build because there's too much shit that can go wrong.
I wonder if you could allow a wall specifically for that, like a curved wall that would look hideous on its own, but then if you wrap some paneling around it,
Bro, what curved wall? Where are you getting curved walls from?
Fucking difficult to
they
deal
just look
with.
so nice. Like if you
They
had a
do.
nice curved wall, I know you probably have to build a house around it,
Yeah.
but if you had like a nice curved wall, because that's what I wanted to do in my living room initially, was curve it around the corner,
Yeah.
bring some shape, but it wasn't going to work.
Nah. That's a fuckery. Nah.
I don't know how else to explain it.
Curved
Yeah.
words are hard.
There was a build that got done ages ago, and we did the whole curved archways. Never again.
Nah.
Too much work.
One, you don't know how it's going to end up, so the expectation of what you think is going to happen to how big the opening is, what's actually happening, where it's located, to what the final product is,
Varies.
varies huge. Nah, not doing it again. Too much of a headache. Full custom houses, whole different ball game, but like a first home or a second home with a standard builder,
Draw the line.
yeah, you got to draw a line somewhere.
Another question. Would you build again?
Yep.
You would?
Yep.
Damn straight you will. No, that's awesome. What would draw you to build again?
Fixing what I thought I did wrong initially.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
But also, it's good to have new things.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about getting something new that is just such an exciting build up.
Absolutely.
And then you get your key and it's awesome. Novelty wears off.
Yeah.
It does.
It's your house.
Yeah.
You know, you could change things here and there, but that would be the biggest reason for me, just to grow from what I've learnt
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Grow from your design.
Are you prepared to pay the new price for a house now? That's a different
That was an
question.
ugly
I guess
laugh.
I think I've already answered that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. Like, that's the market. That's the
yeah.
market. That was the market then. That was the
100%.
market
I
then.
mean, people are still
Smash
getting
that.
equity through that, like building equity with the houses they're building now. So, like, it's not like it's stagnant anymore.
No, it's just the growth isn't as astronomical in such a short time, but the growth is always there. It's just where you go, what you're trying to do for the end game. I definitely wouldn't recommend going like a 6-car garage with a 3-bedroom home and then hoping that it's going to grow more value type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Always stick to the standard things that, you know, we recommend stuff. Still do something bigger. Would you go for a much bigger property, do you reckon, for the next one? Or are you pretty
Yes.
happy with what you got?
No, I'm definitely happy with what I've got, but I wouldn't want to go sideways, if you know what I mean.
No. What does that mean?
Like,
All the-
Same
just do
size.
what I've already done
yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah,
move
yeah,
across.
yeah.
I'd rather progress,
Elevate a
Elevate
little
yourself.
elevate.
Elevate yourself.
bit. Is there any
Yes.
things that you would change design wise to your home?
Everything.
Yeah, no, definitely it would be. I would love to have just features in the walls, like
Okay.
Oh yeah. so
cutouts, like
Like
for a
recess.
TV to go, or
Yeah, okay.
paintings and lighting. I'd love to put extra lighting throughout, like floor panels or up the top. There's so many things that you could change.
Yeah.
I could change
yeah.
that I would like to do.
You
That's
have
just
a-
not possible.
You have a pretty big kitchen. Would you downsize your kitchen or keep it the same size?
Bigger.
Bigger?
Bigger.
But you are a big cook though.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Kara's the cook.
makes mean fucking. What was it?
Slow cooked.
No, the smoker. What was it? The thing that you gave me?
The short
Wagyu.
ribs?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Wagyu
Yeah.
short,
Short
ribs.
ribs.
Fuck, they're good.
You can't really mess that up.
Nah,
but the Wagyu saves you.
Walk-in robe, ensuite, all that kind of stuff. Would you change anything about that?
Yes. Yeah, so I would love to, and this is your fault actually.
Mine?
Handballing the blame.
Fuck.
Your walk-in robe,
Oh yeah, true.
beautiful, beautiful.
thank you.
Like mine, I like mine. Don't get me wrong; it's plenty enough for me. But seeing yours and what you can do with it, you can have like a clone stand. You can have
Yes.
a mirror that just more space for it.
Yeah.
I really like that idea. I'd
Yeah.
love to do that. I'd love to have a big al fresco to be able to have an outdoor
Big entertainment.
entertaining area to
Yep.
smoke meat. So there's so many things that I would like to change.
Probably just go bigger
Yeah.
for the next one.
Generally
I think
bigger.
Generally, a slightly bigger block or much bigger block with a slightly bigger home, but not like. The thing is, what you've got, you could still stay in, right?
Oh,
For the
definitely.
for the next fucking 5-10 years and grow into the home.
And I probably will, to be honest.
It's a gangster house, and the size is good. It's not like you're on a 300 square meter block, something that's a bit more smaller size constraint. But it's really cool to see that you've got something that you've started with, which is killer. You can grow into, but then when the time comes, you'll be able to
Level up.
Elevate,
Elevate up.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to add to the pod, Riley?
Mr. Riley.
Any info for new listeners? Any info for people thinking to build? Any info for people that are just about to pick up keys?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can't think of anything at the
No,
time.
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Just build with Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess with picking up keys, just make sure you have your furniture ready. Don't run into the rabbit race that I did with trying to get a bed on the last day.
Yep,
Yeah.
fair.
First day.
Yeah.
Fair.
Organise that months in advance.
I think the hard part with that, I will counter that, is it's hard to actually estimate exactly when
You're
gonna get the keys with all the shit that's happening now. Would you
Yeah.
say more about having everything lined up so that as soon as you've got like your PCI, you start booking things, or are you talking about if you're trying to move in from day one? Because that's always going to be
That's
Yeah.
hard.
shit show.
You're never going to know an exact date, but I think you know a rough time frame. Like, you know, it's going to be August or it's going to be July or September. So
So work on that.
give
worst
yourself
case.
time to order furniture, because furniture takes months
Yeah.
to sometimes
Yeah,
build.
I agree.
Couches, you name it, you know.
We learnt that the really hard way where,
Was that 3 months or something, wasn't it?
well, I don't know. There was a piece of furniture, the coffee table I bought. I ordered that in November. It didn't get to ours until May. Like
6 months.
6 months for a fucking coffee table.
And it wasn't even a big coffee table
I can-
either.
It
I had the
wasn't that
same thing with
fancy.
a couch from King Living.
Yep.
It was like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like outrageous. And it's because everything's coming from over east, so it
Yeah,
takes
but it wasn't
ages.
even like a full custom to order fucking
No,
thing.
it wasn't.
It's
It was
like,
just delays.
Just get the fucker in.
Back orders and delays.
Insane.
Yeah.
Nah, cool, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the pod.
It's about fucking time you jumped on the pod.
Facts.
But I really appreciate it. And it's cool just to share a different journey about when you got in, how yours was, you know, nice and streamlined in, which is great. Like, would it, before we finish up, because I know we have to wrap up, was there any challenges that you really felt like you faced internally or mentally along the course of the build? Was there anything that you sat there and went, fuck, this was a bit rough, but it was
Yeah.
worth it in the long run?
Yeah, and you touched on it with Dave really well about the mental side of things.
Yeah.
And they were definitely there. Like, don't get me wrong, they're there. Whether you like to admit it or not, everyone's got them. You're wondering if you're making the right decisions. When I pulled that money out and then I got told I'm an idiot, like I was wondering if I've just blown it all and all this hard work. So it's definitely there, but just stick to your guns. I think this is how I sold David over.
Yeah.
Because he was expressing those to me that night as well, if I remember vaguely. But and just to stick to your guns, because in the long run, I know it's a big step from where he is to where I am now, but this is what it could be for you. You know, you could be sitting in your place playing Black Ops 6, just shooting and
Vibing.
and vibing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just stick to your guns, because the earlier you can get into the market, the better off you are.
Yeah.
The more equity you can have in your name, the better off you are.
100%.
The-
You're not pissing away into someone else's pocket.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly right.
you're investing in yourself.
Never rent. Don't rent. If you have the chance to not rent,
Yeah.
don't rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bite the bullet if you have to stay at home. Like, yes, it's going to
That
be
little bit
uncomfortable.
longer.
Save the cash you need and just get into a place. Even if you can't wait for a build, right? Buy a fucking house. If you've got the capacity, the earning and whatever, and you really don't want to build, fine. But if not, look at the options. Don't
Equity.
just piss it away and rent.
Well, house prices aren't going down. They're only going to consistently go up.
No, and
so
it's that age-old saying about when's the perfect time.
now.
Yesterday
When
is
you were
better-
born.
Literally, when I was twinkling my dad's sack. That's when it was.
I think the saying's in your dad's eye, but
Is
you'll run with
it?
that.
It's the same fucking shit, basically.
What kind of sack does your dad have that twinkle?
I don't know.
Why are you looking at that anyway?
Fuck, here we go. So, when's the perfect time? Yesterday is better than today. Today is better than tomorrow. You cannot, I will hands down say this. There is no perfect time to get into the market. The whole point of what you want to look at doing is it's time in the market, not time.
Timing.
Not timing the market. That's it. let me, for people
Nick
that
with
are
the
still thinking
sayings
about
today.
it, because today my brain is like half wide. So basically it's time in the market, not timing the
Yeah.
market.
Don't
That's what the
wait.
difference is.
You could wait for interest rates to drop, house prices go up.
100%.
You're never going to get in
No.
front by waiting.
Well, the thing is, as they drop, that means everyone else can borrow that little bit more. The
Yeah.
repayments are lower. So guess what? There's more people that are currently not able to afford that are back in the market. So you're just fighting yourself
Yeah.
and more people for the same situation.
Yep.
If you can get in with what the worst case scenario is now, you're fucking laughing.
Yeah.
So then you're not relying on rate cuts to be able to afford it. When they come, it's a great blessing.
And I think the other bit of advice for that is, I don't know if it's good advice or bad advice, but it
Here we
worked
go.
for me.
Yeah, or if it worked for you,
Borrow as much as you can. If the bank's
Okay.
going to give
Maybe
you
not the
700
best.
grand, no, if they're going to give you, say, 700 grand, borrow 600. Like, get up to the
Yeah.
top, because the more expensive your house, the more it's going to go up.
yeah.
Yep.
The higher your equity is.
Well-
if you can afford it, if you couldn't afford it, the bank wouldn't offer it to you.
Yep, I definitely see some parts of that. What also is, I think what I would like to add on to that is the fact that you gotta understand what the current market is, right? When you were doing it, right, the average median house price had gone from your 500s, had already started soaring into that 550, 600K range,
Yep.
right? So you were that little bit over the asking at the average price of a home in Perth. That average home cost in Perth now is $850,000, right? So what ends up happening is people are still stuck on the mentality of, I only want to spend $600,000. Well, you're looking at properties $250,000 less than the average. Yours
Yeah.
was that on par with the average,
Yeah.
and that's what was giving you the capacity to actually do it. So 100% I agree with it. It depends on, obviously, everyone's borrowing capacities and their spendings.
Yeah.
But yeah, dead set, man. I agree to it to a certain degree. It's just trying to
Fine tune it.
fine tune the balance between the situation, because obviously the new median average is a little bit higher now. People that are, can only borrow 650, you have to borrow 650. I agree.
Yeah.
That's what 100%.
I guess you're right. I could have probably.
No.
The only thing I would
but
say
that's
is-
why we jump in and we work together. This is the whole point of this. But if you had the capacity to borrow 1.5 mil, you ain't going to be borrowing 1.5 mil for your first place.
No.
No, but you might be looking at something in that 680, 800K, something that's a little bit nicer, knowing you've got a good, strong capacity behind you that you can afford this shit.
Yeah.
I would just say, like, I agree with both statements. I would just say that every person needs to assess their own situation and see what they're comfortable with repayment wise.
Yeah. Well, if you can afford $10,000 rims, you can afford a fucking mortgage.
Get out.
But the bank wouldn't offer it if you
No.
couldn't. And I think that's what I was.
Yeah, very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're able to borrow, let's go borrow rather than waiting longer and potentially being priced out of the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the exact.
And don't lose your job.
And don't lose your job. Yeah.
That's a very important one.
Yeah, do not do that.
You know what? That's, almost at the very top, I'd say.
Don't take out money from your super. That also helps. I love you, man.
Beauty. All right. Happy to wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that was killer.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Remember to subscribe, hit the follow button, leave a comment.
Just click a 5-star rating. Help us grow. As we grow bigger, then we can actually try and implement more things into the podcast.
Yep.
Riley, thank you so much for fucking coming on and
Thank
jumping
you.
on, man.
No, that's all right.
Even though I ripped into you for like half of it. I love you for
That
it.
is fine. Thank you for the invite.
Yes.
It was. It's been good.
I highly regret coming.
I will not see you again.
No, you're a fucking legend.
Follow us on all the socials. You can follow us pretty much everywhere. If you Google Mr Enthusiast, we're there.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
Um,
just Google Mr. E. You'll
that's
know it. You'll hear about us.
You won't even
Somewhere.
have to Google it. Just scroll your ads.
Yeah.
See what pop up.
We're trying.
Facts.
And just remember, guys,
We're not here.
To fuck spiders.
Damn straight.
that's all right.
See yous.
Bye.